but most of it's going to be pretty interactive, me sharing what I do on my page and how I do it, and what I think has become sort of a recipe for success. It's not really a training per se on anything like Power Editor or, you know, Facebook ads. You know, I'm going to touch on each one of those things, but so let's see. Oh, Emma, hi. I see you. How are
Hey,
you?
sorry, I was on the corporate Zoom for the summit presentation, so I was late, and I have to go to the base to sign our retirement paper. So I actually hit record, and I'm leaving. I gotta do it now.
Okay.
So
All right.
recording.
Thanks.
See ya.
Thanks, Emma. See ya. Um, in and out. That's all right. Oh, she's got so much on her mind right now. Um, I can only imagine what's going on in that girl's head. So, um, all right. So Facebook like pages. I want to canvas you guys right now. How many of you have them? I assume that you all do, but maybe you don't. But I assume that you do. Carrie, yes. Blake, yes. Nicole, yes. I know Bria does. I know Emma does. Okay, so you all have like pages. Awesome. Are you happy with the engagement that you're getting on your pages? Couple of head nod or head, not head shaking. No. Okay. So first, this is not going to be. I'm not going to talk about other social media, and I'm not going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about list building or websites, right? Those are really important parts of what we do. And quite frankly, if I were to like start from the basics, I would really, when you set up a Facebook page, you really need to start thinking, and I still need to start thinking of a funnel and lead generation that will get me to list building. I'm not there yet. I'm sort of kind of like walking my way through this, but I've put a ton of effort into my Facebook like page. And I could tell you, Jen, my coach, when I started coaching a year and a half ago, I didn't know squat about Facebook. I was like, okay, this is for young people, and I'm not in that, and it's for women, and I'm not in that. I'm just, you know, so I didn't think that I had anything to share, anything to do. And I did not start my own like page until I created it last October. So it's only been, um, you know, what, 7 or 8 months, but I didn't even do anything with it when I created it. I put up a couple of posts, and then I send out like mass invites to a lot of my friends. Right. And I'm going to talk about why that's not such a good idea. Okay, my computer is up. Let's see. I'm going to still talk while I'm trying to do some stuff on my computer here. By the way, I want this to be really, really interactive. So since there's just the four of you, and other people get to watch this later, you guys can ask questions at any time, right? So the first thing I want you to think about Facebook like pages at, and I see these comments quite frequently on Fierce Fit Phenomenon and other pages that basically say, hey, I got my like page, but I'm not getting the kind of engagement that I'd really like. And I get much more engagement on my personal page. Does that sound familiar to you? Are you seeing more engagement on your personal page than you are on your like page? Probably yes. Now, the question that you need to ask is it the type of engagement that I want? And is it creating a sales funnel for me? So the personal page is a way to connect to other people. It's a personal page, right? We post about our fitness, we post about our whatever it is. But really, one of the things that I'd like you to think about is that your personal page does not become the place where you talk about your business. You talk about your life, you talk about your life as a coach, you talk about possibly challenge groups and reference that. But it really doesn't need or should become a place where you advertise at all. And the like page is a place for that. and there's a good reason for that. But when you advertise on a like page and you got 0 engagement, then you're thinking, well, what's the point, right? Why do I even go to all this effort to create an advertisement when nobody's watching it? And I spent, let me tell you, I spent a good 2 to 3 months, January, February, and March, focusing on a funnel. Okay, focusing on. So I started January with about 300 about 350 people that liked my page. Most of those people were people that I had asked to like my page, other potentially other coaches and friends and stuff like that. And right now my page is a little over 4,200 likes. So it's increased a lot. Now I'm going to tell you how I've got that, and it hasn't been without cost by any means. So I do get a lot of questions, but what's more important than the likes is the amount of engagement that you have on your page. And engagement is measured in terms of likes, comments, shares, and post clicks. Okay, so insights. We're going to talk about this a little bit. Again, I apologize for the time. I wanted to be more efficient. So let me bring up my presentation. Let me see if I can. Okay, so engagement. So one of the things that there are basically 2 strategies that you can have to increase the number of likes. And if you listen to a lot of like popular social media people, they will all tell you to invest, right? Facebook has changed its rules. There's no way that you can grow an audience and a following at a pace that I think you'd be pleased with without investing. So let me tell you what I think my rule of thumb is for investing. And that's why I sort of wanted to give this to the Diamond Group, because this is sort of a hard concept for people to wrap their head around it when they first come into Beachbody. But after you've been with Beachbody for a while, it becomes more and more relevant and more important. So here's my rule of thumbs, and I'm not saying that you should do this, but I am saying that you should consider significantly some of the principles I'm going to share here in terms of how much money should you spend. So think of your month of Beachbody, basically your earnings. Okay, subtract how much you are spending on all of the Beachbody products, your Shakeology, any other recurring expenses if you're getting E&E, results in recovery, your coaching fees, your Team Beachbody Club fees, that for your spouse. Okay, subtract all of that, right, from your earnings. And then from those earnings, again, I'm not telling you this is the way you should do it, but this is the way I do it. From those earnings, I take 30% of that, what's left over, and I put that aside, right? That's going to help me cover taxes. That's going to help me cover anything else I might want to, charitable donations or whatever. So about 30%. The remainder is a budget that I could use for whatever I want, right? I could use it for paying off bills. I could use it for other things. I am at a place right now where I want my Beachbody business to grow, and I want it to grow rapidly. So I am not going to use my Beachbody income to quote unquote support my family. I'm going to use my Beachbody or use it for, it's like a bonus check or something like that. My Beachbody income, less my Beachbody expenses, and less this money that I save, put away for expenses that I feel like I need to reserve, is going to go largely towards advertising and marketing. Now, some of that marketing might be getting yourself some apparel, right? It might be getting yourself supplies that you need for challenge groups. If you purchase gifts and books and things like that, that can come out of that budget. But look at that money that you have available and get your head around the fact that I'm going to need to spend more than just $1 a day on Facebook. I mean, I talk to a lot of people who are trying to grow pages and they spend, oh, I'm going to spend a couple of dollars a day, right? Well, 30 bucks a month, quite frankly, I don't think that that's going to get you where you need to be if you want your Facebook to grow. And I'll go in surges. I'll spend a significant amount of money on weekends sometimes, like Memorial Day weekend. I spent a fair amount of advertising money, but you need to be able to control that. So I want you to think about that, and whether it's $100 a month, whether it's $50 a month, whether it's $300 to $400 a month, or even more, right? That will. It's not so much about how much money you spend. It's about making sure you have a budget for it and proactively looking at it, and then doing the best with that spend that you can. Any questions so far? No?
No, that's good, Ken. Thank you very much for kind of like breaking it down into figuring out how you're budgeting, because that's one thing that's kind of always been hard for me, is to figure out how much to reinvest. So I appreciate the formula that you came up with.
Like I said, it's pretty personal, but I think it can work, because you've got to really think, as business builders, you've got to really think. And there might be other expenses in there, right? You might have a hosting fee for your website. You might have, other things like that. You might want to pay for a social media to be part of Amy Porterfield's or whatever, and that's okay. But plan that money ahead of time out of your Beachbody earnings, so you've got it set aside. I wish I would have gotten this all set up before we started. I apologize. Let's see, I'm back in now. Let's see if this will work, because I want to share my screen. Oh, I think this is going to work. Looks like it is. Okay, I'm going to hang up here. How do I get off my phone? Oh, leave. There we go. Okay, you guys see me now? We good? Like a few more people on, I think. Maybe not. So Nicole, Bria, Blake, and Carrie. Awesome. Okay, so let's share my screen. Okay, can you guys see this? I don't know if it's big. Honestly, I am not very good at Zooming. So
you're good, Kent. It looks good.
Okay. Let's see. Where was it? Okay. I want you to think of. I'm going to touch on each of these points, and then we're actually going to get into my page, and then I'm going to get into some really nuts and bolts, right? So a lot of the value here is going to be in this interactive work as we talk about some of the things that I'm doing. So first of all, Facebook like page is a sales funnel. It's not a sales front. If you look at my page and you look at the posts, there are only, in the entire month of May, there are only 2 posts that will be promoting anybody to a sort of challenge group, be part of this action, right? And if you count how many posts that I put on that page, somewhere around 5 to 6, sometimes even 8 posts a day. That's a lot of posts, right? So I've got a ton of posts on my page, and only a couple of them. I mean, it's very much to this concept of this jab, 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 left hook, right? You guys have all heard that. So I want you to think about that. It's not a sales front, and people don't react to it that way. They want to get to know you. They want to get to know, and then when you're ready, they'll be able to reach out to you. You've all heard that before, but I'm experiencing that, and I'm really, really happy with how things are going. But the only way that you're going to get an advertisement out there is to get the engagement so high and to get Facebook to prioritize your posts. And this is where I'm not hearing a lot about this in some of the, I mean, I hear about it. I hear people touch on it in some webinars and other things, like you got to get more engagement. And, but honestly, you've got some choices to make. And this is later down in the agenda about like promotions and other types of promotions, like page post promotions. And I'll tell you what I've been doing. I spent a fair amount of money in February and March to increase the number of likes on my page. Problem with that is that you get somebody, and if you look at the stats, 90+%, 95+% of people's interactivity when they like a page, when they like a post, is going to come from their mobile. I don't know if you knew that you can go into the Facebook Insights and see how people are responding, but you can. And it's all from their mobile. So they quickly, boom, 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 news feed. I see something. I like it. They don't even think about it. It's got like an interesting image. They like it. They don't think about it. Are they really your customer? Are they really the kind of person that you want in your group? Maybe, maybe not. The possibility of them seeing a feed or a post from you later on is very, very, very low, unless they've engaged with your page already, and unless you've got like high priority by Facebook. So I don't know how all the algorithms work. None of us do in Facebook, but I do know from experience that your posts will get higher priority the more engagement that you have with each post. So I want to show you several different examples from my page on just on some numbers. So we've already talked about Facebook advertising, how to plan a budget. Let me just touch quickly on finding your niche, theme, and motto. This is really interesting. In January, okay, I decided, it was actually at the Fierce Fit Phenomenal Leaders Conference that we had, and I decided at that point in time that I was going to invest heavily, whatever heavily meant, in my Facebook like page. And I was going to invest time and energy into this, both in consistency of theme and consistency of posting. So the theme of my page is Living Fierce, Fit, and Free with Kent, right? So that's the name of my page. And I wanted all of my posts to be about how I can take my effort to be fierce in my activities as an exercise enthusiast. So that's all about motivation, engagement, and pushing myself and working hard and things like that. And then being fit, right? Being fit both mentally and physically and emotionally. And then how that leads to freedoms. So if you look at my posts, they are, it's a series of constant, very graphically rich posts about how a person can take maybe an exercise picture or a theme, a quote, and apply it in their own circumstances, whether it has to do with fitness or that has to do with relationships, or that has to do, and I really didn't think much about it, but it seems to resonate a lot with a lot of people. What's interesting about this is I had a conversation with a coach on my team at the time, and he said, Facebook is flooded with coaches that are all advertising the same thing. He says, there's no more room for uniqueness in this business. And I didn't really have an argument with him. I mean, I didn't agree with him, but I didn't know what to say. And this is actually a coach in my team who eventually just kind of fell inactive. Not necessarily inactive, but he's frustrated with the whole thing, which is kind of sad. But I think there's a point to be here
made here, you want to find something that is sort of uniquely you. You don't have to go crazy and try to, but you've got to be, something, consistently something that reaches an audience that you want. So spend some time, write out, what does that audience look like? Who are they? What do they stress about? What do they think about? What do they want in their lives? Spend half a day, spend a week thinking about that. Write it down on a piece of paper, refine it, go over it. Because that will be the source of motivation and inspiration for you when you create a post. It doesn't always have to be that way, but you've got to be thinking about, whenever I post something, will they share it? Will somebody want to share this? Will somebody want to read this? And will they want to comment on it? So find your niche, theme, and motto, whatever that is. You've got to be really consistent with that, and that grows over time, right? I didn't have this big vision in January. Oh, this is what I really wanted, and this is how it's all going to come together, and such. So, okay, consistency. You've got to have a lot of pictures and a lot of videos, right? So, it's so interesting. One of the pages, and towards the end, I'm going to have you go into the insights of your like page and build a following, because I want you to follow certain people. But one person that does this so extremely well is, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just forgot her name. This happens all the time. Megan Ewaldson. Okay, Megan Ewaldson. She's the Facebook like page queen. Almost. I mean, there's a couple other people out there too, but she's, of all the top 10 coaches, her Facebook page is far and beyond everybody else's in terms of engagement and how she's posting, right? So look at her as a sort of a blueprint of how you want to do certain things. And not to say you copy her, but watch her. And I watch her, and I watch several other people. In fact, in my insight page, I compare my page to all top 10 coaches. And I do that because I want to I don't spend a whole lot of time on their pages. I don't want to just get into that rut, but I want to see how am I doing compared to the top 10. Okay, so pictures and videos are super important, but those videos and pictures will only become relevant when you get consistency every single day. So tell yourself right now, all right, I know I get more engagement on my personal page. I am going to invest the time and the effort and the money to put a number of posts on my like page. And even if I only get 2 or 3 likes, I'm going to do it every single day, right? And I'm going to invest the time. I'm going to plan on it, because over time, and I'm telling you, I did not get to the level of engagement that I'm at right now back in February, right? I just committed myself to really making this a consistent effort. I love the Like Pages app on my phone, because I can sit and I can spend an hour, and I'm going to think, I'm going to plan all these posts. And if I'm really proactive and manage my time well, I'll start my day out, and I will, within an hour, I could plan maybe 5 to 6 different posts, have them scheduled, ready to go, so I can go about my day and I don't even have to think about it. And boom, 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 they land, they go. There are different times of the day when a post is better than others, and you just have to kind of look at that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jen had mentioned that you're really good about scheduling your posts so that you don't have to worry about it all the time. But what is your thought process, or how do you come up with what content you're going to post for the day? Because for me, that seems to be like one of my biggest struggles, is the time it takes me to come up with content. It seems to take me a long time to figure out what to post each day. So do you have like any tricks or any patterns that you use?
That's a great question. And that's why a lot of it, for me is centered around understanding what your niche and your audience is. That's why I say spend some time and write this stuff out. But think about, okay, my audience, they're going to go to work. They're going to, maybe some of them will do exercise. Maybe some of them have addictions. Maybe some of them are depressed. Maybe some are, what can I share and say? What picture and quote can I provide for them that they will find interesting, right? It doesn't have to be about fitness. Although I use a ton of pictures that show people working out or exercising, whatever. Sometimes I'll grab a picture, and what I've done, and I've invested a lot of time, I've gone out into different pages, a lot of them free pictures and stuff, and I've downloaded a ton of pictures onto my phone. And I use Dropbox all the time, because then what I can do is I have the Dropbox app on my phone, and I'll spend some time on my computer and I'll search for really cool, engaging photos, right? Now, granted, probably some of them are copyrighted. I haven't spent that much time on it, if I was really, really good, I'd make sure that I didn't infringe on any of that. I'm not too worried about that right now, but as my page grows, I'm going to have to be a little bit more concerned about that. But so I have a ton of photos in a Dropbox folder that I grab from my computer that I can access from my phone. So then I'll go to, okay, I want to put a quote about overcoming. Let's say it might be or perseverance, right? I'm going to put a quote about perseverance. So I'm going to just do a quick search, Google search, perseverance quotes. There's all kinds of quotes out there, right? Sometimes I might grab a quote from a book that I'm reading. Sometimes I might grab it from what, but people on Facebook, like I said, their habits are, I'm going to see a post and a feed. I don't have time to read the text. The only time that they have, because we're so ADD in this world of social media today, the only time they have is that quick glance. Oh, that's a cool looking picture. Oh, wow, what does she say there? She said, good things come to those who change. I don't know, whatever it is. Oh, I like that. And then they move on. So don't spend time thinking about text. Don't spend time thinking about how am I going to write about this? Spend your time thinking about what picture and what text can I, caption that can I give a theme and my audience to work on. Now, maybe some pictures are a whole bunch of your own pictures, right? But people only want to see, they might see part of, so I would be careful with that. In the sense that, again, if you look at the top 10 coaches, they got such a great following. A lot of their posts are personal. Just make sure that it fits what your audience wants. I don't know if that answers your question, Blake, because I think that I still sometimes I can come up with a post quick. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes it takes me a while. But when I have a lot of pictures available, and when I have a lot of quotes, sometimes I've even said, okay, today I'm going to post a whole bunch of Bruce Lee quotes. Everybody loves Bruce Lee. I downloaded a bunch of Bruce Lee pictures. Boom. I got like 6 posts already just lined up in like 30 minutes, right? Everybody loves them, right? So you can do that. I mean, you can choose a person who people publicly admire. You can choose John F. Kennedy. You can choose whatever it is. But I really do think, not that we live in a world where people want, inspiration, and they want it sort of unique and personalized. Think about how you can do that. Anything else on that? Okay, let's jump into, before I go into the Power Editor versus Ad Manager, how many of you use Power Editor? Does anybody? No. Blake says no. Nicole, do you use Power Editor?
What is Power Editor? Is it an app or something through Facebook?
No. Power Editor is a way on your Facebook page to create promotions. So basically create ads, but it gives you a lot more flexibility. Honestly, I don't think that you the value of Power Editor starts to come after you reach more than 1,000 likes on your page. So depending on where you are, you can do a fair amount with Ad Manager, but I really love Power Editor to create the ads. And I can show you, depending on how much time you guys have this morning, I can show you how I do that. So Carrie, do you know what Power Editor is?
Yeah, I've tried it once and I didn't have luck with it, but I've been intending to revisit it. I'll be curious what kinds of posts you use with it.
Yeah, it's very cumbersome at first.
Yeah.
It's got to the point now where I can jump into Power Editor, I can manage my ads, and for all I want to do in like 30 minutes. I mean, it is really, once you get used to it, once you get familiar with it, it becomes sort of like a little best friend. I don't use Ad Manager as nearly as much. Ad Manager, you guys familiar with Ad Manager? I assume that you are. A lot of people, when you first have a like page, basically the only thing that, I mean, the first thought that people have is just that little button that says boost post, right? You click boost post and you can boost your post for $1 a day or $5 a day. And then you can kind of tweak your audience a little bit. So when you do that, when you boost a post, that's called a page post promotion, right? So it's going to take that post that you've put together and it's going to boost it in other people's news feeds. And it's going to do that based off an audience that you define. So I think I'm to a point where I want to jump to my my Facebook page, or yeah. Okay, so here's my Facebook page. Can you all see this? Yes? No?
No, I just see your PowerPoint.
Oh, I think I have to share like a different program, right?
Yeah.
How do I do that? Stop share and then share screen and then there we go. Cool. Do you guys see this now?
Yes.
Okay. Here you can see this is, I want to point out a couple of things. So this is in the last week, this is my reach. Okay, so my posts are reaching 64,000 people. And that's pretty big. I've also gotten, within the last week, I've also got 342 page likes. And I'll tell you, I am not running any page like promotions. And for the very reason that I don't like the fact that I don't like to spend money to get somebody to like my page if I don't even know they like the post that I put on my page. I would rather find that person and mine them out to like my page after I know that they've seen a post on my page that they like, right? So there's a great way to do that, and I can show you that in a little bit. So let me just go to today's posts, right? So this is one that I put up in, it was right before we started, so less than an hour ago, okay? So simple picture. Achievement begins in the mind and are accomplished with your heart. So this is what I'll do. I'll take a picture, I'll take a quote, and then I try to find some application behind it that I always put in as just a short paragraph, right? And I try to apply it. Now, I don't know how many people read that. Some people do, some people don't. But it's got to be short in your description. It's got to be applicable. And then your picture and your words have got to be something that will capture. Use color. I love word swag. I mean, I literally do, but I used a certain, here's the cool thing with my page recently. I've used just a couple of different fonts, and the way that I organize it, I've had feedback from multiple people that say, I know, Kent, that your post is in my newsfeed. I can recognize it right away because the way that I put the words together just it always looks the same. And so my following, they see it and they just click on it, and so Okay, so there's 36 people since I posted this about an hour ago that liked this. I had 2 shares and I've had 1 comment. Okay, that's really great engagement for a post that's only been up for an hour, because not only am I getting the shares from those 2 people, well, not only am I getting the likes from my own page, I'm getting additional likes, which is considered engagement from people who are sharing it. Couple hours before that, I posted this one. Oh, I also want to say the reach. Okay, this 449 people reached. This is important. You might put a post on there and you might only get like a reach of 10 or 50 if you don't have a whole lot of engagement on your page. The more people that like it and the more people that share it, the more reach you have. And what you want to do is you want to put as many posts, applicable posts. So there is this quantity versus quality thing, right? If you spend all your time and you only put 1 post a day, then you're not going to get the reach that Facebook will prioritize your page in the news feed. Okay, so you got to think about, how can I increase my reach in the day? And there are 2 ways. 1, more posts, and 2, more engagement on those posts. And it's got to be a combination of both of those, right? So you've got to have consistent multiple posts throughout the day, and then you've got to have engagement on those posts. So here's one from a couple of hours ago. I have 82 people who've liked it, 15 people who've shared it. I've reached 985 people, and I've got 2 comments there. One from 3 hours ago, 82 people liked it, 13 shares, 1,100. And then from early this morning, 1,200 people. Okay, so think about that. So there's 1,200 from that first post, 1,100 from the second post, 900. So I'm already at like 3,000 and 3,500. Okay, by noon, 3,500 people reached. Facebook sees those numbers and it says people are watching and following this guy, right? So I'm going to prioritize this page's posts in the news feed because there's that much engagement. And that's why a like page ad, honestly, doesn't do anything for you when it comes to engagement. It might get you more people that will see the post if your engagement's already high, right? So, but if I were to say, prioritize a budget of spend on Facebook advertising, I would tell you right now, plan 80% of that at least around page post promotions. Okay, and we'll get into what that looks like. And I know I'm like, let me do a time check with you because this is pretty interesting. But I also realize that you guys kind of plan about an hour. So let me just gauge, how much do you need? How many of you need to leave in 10 minutes? Bria? Okay.
I have to be gone in 15 to pick up my son.
Let me see how much I can go through this, because I think I'm going to need to probably plan a part 2 to really get into Power Editor, because you guys will be like, especially since you don't use it, you guys will be like, whoa, this is like way too much for me, right? You can do page post promotions in your ad manager, and that's fine.
Can I ask you another question real quick?
Yeah.
And if you're going to get to this, let me know if it's premature, but how do you choose which posts you actually promote?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm so glad you asked that. Okay, so I promote posts on a monthly basis. Only at the beginning of the month will I plan posts, and I promote 6 posts, okay? 6 posts. And this is how I do it. I go to my insights. Okay, this is a great page. It tells me lots of stats. I love stats. I'm an engineer, so I love all kinds of. This is one of my favorite things to do. Is just to go and scour through this. Okay, so your 5 this is where it's all at in terms of finding the post that you want to promote. What I would do at the very, very beginning is I would just choose one. Okay, I would choose 1 or 2 or 3, and they may not be the right ones, but you've got to move and you've got to figure it out and you got to make it work. So Go ahead. Yeah. So, and then as you build over time, you can refine this and you can iteratively find the posts that are going to work, what seem to engage with people the most. Now, one of the things you need to be thinking about is the Facebook rules around advertising. If you're going to put a lot of words and text on your advertise or on your posts, then Facebook has the stupid rule that, okay, if you've got 20% or more text, then it will reject your advertisement. Okay, so you kind of have to be creative. I've figured some things out with word swag that if I do multiple colors and if I do some different things that I can actually get around that rule. We won't talk about that. So this, look at this. I'm going to come down and I want to see as many posts as possible. Okay, so I like this screen right here. I want to see more because this is going to give me a whole bunch of graphics. Now, what I look at right here is I'm going to go, when I start in June, I'm going to look back in the month of May, and I'm going to see the top 6 posts that were not promoted that got the highest engagement. And I'm going to choose those 6 posts for promotion in the month of June. Now, it doesn't matter that I posted something way back on May 10th and people are seeing it in their news feed on June 6th. I mean, who cares? I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's going to take them to your post. They're going to see it. They're going to like it. They might comment on it. And I'm going to show you an example of several of those. Okay. But I'm going to go through here and I just make a note. I get out a piece of paper. I'm like, okay, this one right here on May 25th, I reached 2,600 people. That's pretty good for an organic reach on a post, right? I had 196 likes, comments, and shares, and 59 post clicks. Okay, so that's one that would be a candidate. This one right here. So you can continue to click on see more. Now here's one that had 3.3, right? So these were ones that obviously resonated with more people. I want this one right here, 4.3. That's definitely going to be one I'm going to promote in June, right? So, but one of the things that I have to do is look at the text and find out, is that text going to violate the rule? Now, if it does, one of the things you can do is you can create a post and you can change the date on it so it doesn't automatically just show up in there, and you can just basically predate it and it'll put it in your page, and then you can put a promotion around that. You can ask me about that later. Because if you put a post up there and you're like, oh crap, that was a really good post, but nobody, Facebook denied it, rejected it, and if I just could tweak it a little bit, maybe they'll accept it. But there's ways to get around that. So does that make sense? Now I've gone through my posts through the month of May, and I found the ones that had the highest engagement and the highest reach. And those are my candidates for the ones that I'm going to promote in the month of June. And then I'm going to go into the ad manager, and I'm going to create a campaign and an ad set with a audience. And then I'm going to select all 6 of those posts as a part of my ad set. Okay. So those, every single one, and then throughout the month, I'm going to watch those posts. And then you'll find all of a sudden that one is liked better than the other ones. And so that I stop, maybe like at the first week in June, I will stop promoting certain posts because they're just not, I'm not getting engagement as much as I like. And I like I said, I'm really big on metrics. So one of the things I watch is dollars, or basically cents per page post engagement. And my target is to be at 2 cents per page post engagement. If I'm getting 2 pennies to get somebody to like, comment, or share that post, I'll spend that amount of money any day, right? Because that is giving you rich engagement. That's giving you an incredible amount of reach for an extremely low cost. Now, here's another awesome thing. So what I do is I've got those maybe 5 or 6 different posts that I've prioritized. And then I've got an advertisement running around. And then I've just bookmarked them. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the 6 posts that I have promoted. And it's being promoted on a daily basis. And I'm spending advertising money on a daily basis around this. I'm going to click on this one. Okay. So here's one that actually, that text, right, that would have been rejected by Facebook rules, but because there's some different color around there, it didn't get rejected. So with this one, I've got 2,200 likes on this post, 241 shares. This is all coming from the money that I'm spending. This was on May 5th, right? And then I've got a lot of comments on here. And a lot of times I'll come in and I'll reply back to the people. And like, I need to do a better job of engaging with the people that comment on my page. But here's another wonderful thing about, and I waited, I didn't do this for a couple of days because I wanted to share this with you. I'll click this right here. And this tells me, gives me a list of all the people who liked my post. And then I have the option of going through this list and seeing, okay, have they liked it or have they not liked my page yet? So now, since I do this almost daily, I'll go through the 5 posts, I'll plan a time. Sometimes it's in the morning, sometimes it's in the evening, and I'll go through all of the posts that have my, that have advertisements around them. See, now I can see right here. I'm going to start liking, inviting. So this is now sending an individual invitation for this person who has already liked a post that I put on there. So I know that they're interested in the content. Now it's going to send them an invite to like my page. In my opinion, this is more powerful. And guess what? I'm not paying for this, or I'm paying 2 for 1. I'm paid for the page post promotion, but now I'm going to piggyback on that page post promotion, and I'm going to send them an invite. Now, is everybody going to like the page that gets that? Maybe they won't even see it. Maybe not. But I am getting, on average now, if I stay on this, somewhere between 60 and 70 additional likes per day, just by going through my page post promotions and clicking through this, going through that. Now, actually, and I'm not going to do that right now, because what it's doing, every time I hit it, click the invite, it's immediately sending them a notification to invite, or an invite to like my page. And what I want to do is I want to wait for a time when the chances are the highest for them to see that. Because if it comes into their notification and they don't see it, it's a wasted invite. And unfortunately, you cannot go back, not like a friend request or something. You can't go back and say, oh, I want to not invite that person so I can invite them again later. Once you sent them the invite, I hate this about Facebook, but they won't let you resend it again. That's one thing that honestly, I learned, and I don't hear other people talking about this, but this has been the biggest way for me to grow my audience and my Facebook page and get this 2 for 1 from a cost perspective. So, God, we're out of time, and I ate up a lot of that from being inefficient at the beginning. Let me just go back to any questions right now?
Yeah, I was curious about your conversion rate. Are you getting many people in a month that you're like new relationships, or?
Yes. Okay. Glad you asked about that. So here's what I do on a weekly basis. And you got to have a system that's better than mine to manage this. And I think that you guys are pretty organized. So if you can match your great organized systems with some tools that I'm going to share with you right now, I think it'll just, your ability to reach people and connect with people will grow exponentially. Problem is, I'm just a really disorganized person. So when I know that somebody has liked my page and they have also liked a post, and I see that person frequently, And when I say frequently, a couple of times, 2 or 3 times, then I'm going to send them a friend request. Okay. And I'm sending friend requests all day long, all week long. I am adding people all the time. And it's now some of these people, hopefully, I'm getting actually, I think, pretty good conversion. I think probably about 30 to 40% of the people that I send friend requests to actually respond. And a lot of that is not necessarily because they're not interested. It's just because they just don't see it at the right time. Because sometimes what I'll do is I'll clear my friend requests and then I'll send them out again at a later time. Okay, but I like to do this from my phone, because your phone, if you go into a post on your Facebook app and click the people who have liked the post, you'll get a different screen than you will on. You can all see my screen here, right? When I click this, it tells me who's liked my page and who hasn't. Well, if I click the same thing on a post, it tells me who am I friends with. So what I'll do is I'll go through only my organic posts. I never do this with a promoted post, but I'll go through my organic posts. And if I see they like the page, so they're already a follower, and they've liked an organic post, which means that my post has made its way into their news feed, and they've liked that post as well. So they're probably used to starting to seeing my post, whether it's just been a week or something. I'm going to send them a friend request. And so I get a much higher conversion rate of people who are responding to that friend request as a result of that. So Carrie, I don't know if that sort of answers your question, but I'm getting really, and then as soon as within the day, and sometimes I even try to do it within, a couple hours, because you get a notification when somebody's responded to a friend request. I have in Evernote, and I use that app on my phone, I have a whole bunch of scripts. So, and it's the same script I use every time. And I just say, hey, Kathleen, thank you for accepting my friend request and for following me on my page. And so I have just a little blib about, I hope that you find some motivation and some inspiration in these posts, and they bring value. And I'm all about fitness and health. And if you'd like to know more, or I think I asked them a question like, what are you currently interested in when it comes to fitness and health and that kind of stuff? And it's just, thanks for following me, and I hope you enjoy being part of the community on the page. And then a lot of people actually respond. Surprisingly, they'll just come back and say, oh yeah, I'm working on my eating. It really sucks. And some people, I've had people who have responded to that initial thanks for friend request, and within days, I've got them ready for a challenge group. So I just generally don't invite from my page. I invite from personal connections that I make from my page. When I'm ready to do some invitations out to a challenge group, I'll look through the people who have responded, and I prioritize first the people who responded to the friend request and who responded to my initial note back from that friend request. But I rarely do I extend an invitation to be a part of something in that first interaction. In fact, I'll have those go for like maybe a couple of weeks. That way that there's trust built, and I give them advice, different things here and there. And so it takes a lot of time, but I think that I've grown a pretty loyal following as a result of that. Did that answer your question, Carrie?
Trying to unmute. Yeah. I do some of the same thing. I think it's probably a numbers game.
It is. It's very much a numbers game. And so since you're playing a numbers game, you want to make it work in your favor. And that's why I go through this pretty systematic process of making sure they've liked my page, they've liked an organic post, and then I send them a friend request, and they respond back, and I just keep a running list of those people. So we're 10 minutes over our time, so I just want to let me show you real quick. I'm going to go back into the sorry. Shoot, here we go. The insights page. I love.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm sorry, I got to go, but thank you so very much. I would love to hear more when you can get back on again sometime.
Yeah, this is at least. Thanks for being sort of guinea pigs. This has kind of made me think. What if I could condense this into a much shorter time frame, and I can introduce other things like using Power Editor and using Ad Manager the best, and tweaking your posts and tweaking your spend, because I spend a lot of time, not a lot of time, but I invest a lot of energy on making sure that my posts are going out at the right, or my advertisements are going out at the right time. And then I'm adjusting how much I spend depending on which ones are working the best. So
yeah, that would be great to hear more about. And I'd really like to hear more about like the editor and that sort of thing that you're using. But
yeah.
Anyway, you guys have a great day. Talk to you later.
Thanks. See ya. So I mentioned earlier before, you can go to pages to watch, and then you can add pages here. So I've got a list of like, I don't know. I've even got Deanna's page and Bria's page, Jen's page, right? But here you can see Megan Ewaldson. She's got 89,000, 90,000 likes on her page. But this is what's super important. This number right here. It doesn't matter if you've got 90,000 people on your page or if you got 9,000 or 900,000 people, your engagement has got to be high, right? So this bar right here is super important. Take a look at, Brandy Botts is awesome. She does lots of, she's a top 10 coach, right? Her page has only got 680, likes, comments, shares, right? Well, she's not prioritizing her. I mean, she's probably got other avenues. I'm sure she does, because she's a fantastically good coach, right? But if she's using Facebook as her sales funnel, I could tell you right now, it's not bringing in a lot of traffic compared to other pages, much like Megan Ewaldson, right? Or if you come down to Amy Silverman's another one who's just great. And then you also look at the number of posts, right? So Amy and Brittany and, well, Megan, she can get away with less posts because she's got such a loyal following, right? So that's why it's good to, and then you look at, oh God, I forget her name. I can't remember her name. Micah Folsom? No, I can't remember. So Amy's got 5.8. This is engagements per week. Melissa McAllister, she's up there. I come down here. This is actually a low week for me, 2.6. My engagements per week are generally around between 4,000 to 5,000. And that is right on par with where some of these people who have a lot higher followings are getting. And why? It's because I'm prioritizing my spend on page post promotions on those pages or those posts that are engaging people the most. And that makes my organic post get out to more people and reach more people all the time. So I just, you can see 29 here. This is a really low week for me because of Memorial Day. Usually I'm somewhere between 45 to 55 posts in a week. So that was the last thing I really wanted to show you. I'm available to hang on here for any other questions if you guys have any. Anything you can think of? Who do we have? Oh, Nicole, are you the only one on now?
Maybe. No, that was good info. Definitely want to hear more though.
Yeah, I know this was almost like a teaser in a way. I think I talked too much. I wanted to do more engagement, but I need to be a little bit more organized in my presentation. But like I said, thanks for being sort of a guinea pig and letting me go through this and share some. So now I can put a presentation together. I could talk to Emma as maybe a part 2 or a recording, almost a webinar type of thing to help share this with more people. All right. Thanks, Nicole. Did I see Emma? We're done here. I don't know if you're listening, but I guess if we just end the meeting, and the video will stop recording. All right. Take care, Nicole.